and welcome to Loops and Lore with Meg, and for today I am doing the nonfiction book tag. I have been seeing a bunch of people doing it and I felt left out and wanted to join in on the fun. I am fairly new to reading nonfiction in the sense that I've been reading it for a long time, but it's not a genre I've read a bunch of, but it is something every time I do, I'm like, I need to read more of this. So that is going to be a goal for 2025. Spoiler for a goals video that will be coming up. But I want to read more nonfiction and read it more stably throughout the year, if that's the right word. So when I saw this tag going around, I decided I had to go jump on and do this video real quick and kind of have a bonus video for the week. So hopefully you enjoy that. And without further ado, let's get into it. I will link the original creator and everything in the comments description box. That's the right word. So let's get into it. Question number one is, what motivated you to get into nonfiction? And if you can remember what the first book was, what was it? And I think it's something that, you know, in school you have to read a ton of nonfiction. And it was not necessarily my favorite thing in the world, which is probably where a little bit of that stigma came from, because not always the best books are picked. But when I was in high school, I found this book, and I remember picking it up and being blown away that one, this was a nonfiction book, and you know, that the events within this actually took place, and two, just the style and how like much it gripped me from the start to the beginning. And that, of course, is Mouse by Art Spilming. Spilming. I say that. Spilman. Okay, well, let's just cut on. This is about World War II and about the events that took place with the Nazis and the different war camps and that kind of thing. It is told in the sense of the mouses versus the cats, and there's the different animals within it that mean different things. It is a graphic novel, which was one of my first graphic novels I ever read. And there is something about this that just is devastating to read, but captivating and everything as well. I think if you haven't heard of this, which I think most people have, it's definitely one to read. It is set in Poland, about the author's, I believe, parents and what they went through. So definitely read this. But it was after reading this that I realized like the importance of nonfiction, because I don't know, I never had that connection before this book, and so that really delved into my love of it. From there, I did read quite a few memoirs, and none of them really gripped me the way that one had, and I ended up getting into science nonfiction, which is probably one of my favorite things ever. I want to delve into history and some of the other genres of nonfiction as well, but definitely science has been my go-to for the past 10 years or so. So yeah, that's how I got into nonfiction. Question number two is, how do you choose your next read? And for me, it's remembering to read nonfiction is a big thing, because I feel like, you know, fantasy, sci-fi, all of that kind of takes precedence when I'm like, ooh, what book should I read next? So that's definitely something I need to work on. But in general, when it comes to like buying nonfiction and like putting nonfiction on my TBR and stuff, it's a lot of word of mouth. It's a lot of seeing people talk about it on videos or seeing it come up on my Instagram feeds or TikTok or anything like that. Also, when I go to my local used bookstore, I will go to the popular science section and just kind of peruse through a bunch of those and see if there's anything that's catching my eye. So, you know, a lot of it is just pulling stuff that has titles that intrigue me or covers that are intriguing and that kind of thing. So I definitely feel like I need to do more research into what I'm going to read, because I feel like if I do that, there's a whole slew of books that I'm going to find very intriguing that I need to get to. Question number 3 is, do you take notes? I've held up to 3. I do know how to count. But anyways, question number 3 is, do you take notes or annotate your books? I wish I could annotate books. I have tried for years, but my little brain does not remember to do that. And I just end up reading and just forgetting about it. I think with nonfiction, that would be a really great thing to do. It's something that I would like to get in the habit of, if I could build out that habit, but typically no, I'm not that girly. I can't remember to annotate and take notes. Yeah, I end up losing probably quite a bit of information from books, but I enjoy them when I'm reading them, and some of it sticks there. I can still remember some stuff from different things, but it's definitely more of an enjoyment while I'm reading it type thing. Number 4 is, have you read a nonfiction book that has challenged your beliefs or assumptions and that kind of thing? The short answer is not really. I haven't read anything that's way outside of my belief system, mainly because I'm not all that interested in learning that side of things. I feel like my belief system is the way it is because of the learning that I have and that kind of thing. So, yeah, not really. Long answer is, if you want to say, like, if I had to pick a book that is the most challenging to my belief system or assumptions, I would say Smoke Gets in Your Eyes by Caitlin Doughty. This is lessons from the crematory and other stories. This probably challenged me the most because of the subject matter, and in the time that I read it was right after I had a pretty bad personal loss. So reading about death and that kind of thing in that time was very hard. But I'm really glad I did, because it really pushed me to like look towards like what the future may hold and being okay with it. So yeah, this, as far as like a challenging book to read, absolutely. It's a fantastic book for anybody that wants to read on the subject. It is incredible. Caitlin Doughty is a crematory mortician, and so this whole book is about her experiences within that and everything and the lessons that she's learned along the way. So yeah, I highly recommend this. I do think I am due to reread this at some point, maybe soon, just because I think it is one that upon a second read, I'll get more out of it. So I definitely want to do that at some point soon. Maybe this will be one that I can maybe annotate. That would be a great idea. So maybe I can attempt to do that sometime soon. Number 5 is, how do you feel about the intersection between storytelling and the factual information within nonfiction? I think I horribly worded that, but I love it. It's my favorite thing. So one of the ones that I read that completely blew me away when I read it, and I read this probably back, let's see when this was published, because I got it the year it was published. So 2018. So back in 2018, I read The Rise and Fall of Dinosaurs, and I fell in love with this book, and I'm reading the sequel right now, so I'm also falling in love with that one. Spoiler alert for any wrap-ups for the month. But this one, like, the way that the author story tells his way through the events of the dinosaurs was incredible. I loved that there was little aspects where he made up little scenes that would fit the time of the dinosaur that he was talking about before he got into the facts of that dinosaur. So it's like, you know, telling in a way what could have happened within that little piece, but then actually giving you the facts behind the different dinosaurs and the evolutions that they took place and extinction events that took place, and that kind of thing was so good. So I definitely recommend this a lot. It's one that when I think of nonfiction, I automatically think of this a lot of times. So I need more books like this. So if you want to recommend me some that are like this, I would love that. So definitely let me know. 6 is there a topic that you wish authors would explore more of? And I feel like I need to reword this question for this tag for myself, because I know there is so much that authors have explored, and I have not explored enough to be like, hey, they're really missing out in this section of work. So I think I'm going to reword this to, is there a topic that I need to explore more of? I have done a ton of astrophysics and space books. That's kind of my jam. That was what I was drawn to for the past 10 years. So I've done a bunch of those. I would like to read more like The Rise and Fall of Dinosaurs, more of the evolution of animals and that kind of storytelling aspect. So I definitely want more of that. I do want to read more like space memoirs. I adore Endurance by gosh, it just left me. Scott Kelly. That's what I was thinking of. I really enjoyed that memoir of his time in space. So getting some more of those would be fun. But topics I need to explore outside of my go-to genres. I would like to read more nature books. I would like to read more history books. Particularly ancient history. That's more interesting to me than like World War I, World War II, like modern history. I have been following a bunch of booktubers to get recommendations for that, so looking forward to reading some of those. But outside of that, that's kind of where my interest is right now. Hopefully maybe I can broaden out to some other things. So if you have recommendations, let me know down below and I'll definitely check those out. 7 is, do you incorporate insights from nonfiction into your daily life? I have not read a ton that really correlate to daily life. I mean, I guess I could talk about the evolution of how mammals, the distinction was our jawbones. I mean, just learning that right now, but I don't think that's gonna come up in daily conversation. Even though I found it fascinating. I guess you could broaden that to evolution in general, but that's kind of like a can of worms in the area that I live. So probably won't be doing that for my own personal safety. So not really. I do every once in a while, like, you know, throw out some like space facts and stuff like that because I found it interesting. But yeah, not a lot of what I have read is what I incorporate to daily life. I definitely don't do like any self-help books or anything like that. Those bore me to death, or they're like super cringy that I just can't read them. If I really didn't think back to like some that I've read within the past 10 years, I definitely have read some of the feminist books and some of the anti-racist books that came out in the last 10 years. And so I definitely try to incorporate those into my daily life and, you know, kind of make sure that what I'm doing is productive to society and not a deterrent in any way. Because I want to better the world that we're in and not make it worse. So some of those I definitely incorporate in. But my go-to reads, not necessarily correlating to real life as much. And question 8 is to choose a book from my reading nonfiction world that I want to recommend. And I decided to highlight Caitlin Doughty. I have 3 of her books. The third one is Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs? And it's a lot of fun read, but it's not like one I would like super recommend everybody to read. But Smoke Is in Your Eyes and From Here to Eternity, both of these are so good. I liked this one more than this one, but I think this one is super interesting. It is about her traveling around the world and learning about all the different death customs. So that part was super cool. So I definitely highlight this author as someone to check out that I have loved in the past. And number 9 is to tag people. I am so new to getting back into this community that I do not know who to tag. A lot of the people that I know that delve into nonfiction have already done this tag. So if you're seeing it and you want to do it, then you could do it. Like I said, if you have book recommendations for any of this, I would love to add that to my list for next year. I definitely want to have a good list to pull from for 2025 of nonfictions to read. So yeah, tag those below and let me know and I will add them to my Storygraph list. So that is it for me. Hope you like this. Like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Happy reading, stay cozy, stay crafty. Bye.